Well, there are two reasons here, Bev. The US is the one of the three AUKUS partner countries, the US, UK, Australia. The US is the one most keen to bring Japan into this pact. And the reason is that what the US is trying to do here is create what the US itself has described as an architecture of allies, where it's not just the US as a sole colossus bestriding the Indo-Pacific dictating terms to everybody. The US realises its limitations and says that it wants to bring its allies together with each other. So it's not just about umbilical cords to the US, it's about networks of allies. And it wants to put together various groups, including the US, but also US allies, to create this network of deterrence, to deter China against adventurism, aggression, territorial expansionism. And in this case, to put Japan in as a member of the technology sharing group, not the submarine building part of AUKUS, but the technology sharing part of AUKUS. And the second reason is that Japan actually does bring, as we all know, a great depth of technological sophistication and a very deep industrial production base for all sorts of technology, including some of the 8 priority areas of technology under AUKUS's so-called Pillar 2, the technology sharing arm of it.
Yeah, and so what sort of things does that cover?
Those 8 include things that we are familiar with or have heard about. Quantum computing is one priority, AI is another, undersea capability, and in particular that's going to mean unarmed drones, submarine drones, and the Japanese are thought to have some significant capability in all of those areas, plus a fourth one where they claim to have some advanced capability is hypersonics for hypersonic missiles. So the Japanese say that they are keen to contribute. The AUKUS members, the existing AUKUS members, have said they're prepared to open exploratory discussions with Japan and perhaps other countries too, to see if they can come in on a project by project or technology by technology basis to help build the pooled knowledge that can then be applied to the weapons systems employed by the AUKUS group of countries.
Yeah, and that AUKUS group of countries is also looking, well, another member is looking to get involved, and that's on the submarine side, and that's Canada.
Yes, we heard today from Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau delivering a major defence policy update that Canada intends to, is going to examine new submarine capability, potentially nuclear-powered submarine capability. Potentially, Canada will be in the market for some of the same nuclear-propelled, US-based submarines that Australia is shopping for. The Canadians certainly need it. They've got 4 clapped-out submarines that can barely run more than a few days in the water at a time, second-hand from the Brits in the 1990s. So it looks like they could be in the market for nuclear-propelled submarines as well.
Yeah. Let's go back to Japan for a moment. And of course, Japan, you know, has been adhering to this very strict sort of pacifist constitution post-World War II. Is it just a reality now that they cannot stay in that position?
Well, as you know, the Americans dictated a so-called peace constitution to Japan after World War II. The US occupation forces did. Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, the Conservative Party, which has ruled Japan almost continuously since World War II, has never been terribly happy with that and has a long-standing aim of revising the constitution, which at the moment says Japan renounces war forever. But they've never quite had the control of both houses of the Japanese parliament to actually get that through. So what they've done instead is, in response to a rather urgent new need to deal with intrusions from China, is simply to ignore that and push past it. From 1958 until just 2 years ago, Japan put a self-imposed ceiling on its own defence budget of roughly 1% of GDP equivalent to go into defence spending. 2 years ago, they said that's not enough anymore and announced a plan to double that, so national security-related spending of 2% of GDP within 5 years. In Japanese terms, that is huge. And it would correct a disparity where at the moment Japan is a very large economy. It's the 4th biggest economy in the world, but only the 9th biggest defence spender. So by bringing its defence spending up to 2% of GDP, that will give it defence heft commensurate with its economic heft.
Yeah. It was interesting to read in your column today too, though, Peter, that Japan has to rethink how it behaves in an alliance like this, particularly given these are former adversaries and now allies.
At the moment, the existing members of AUKUS are all allies. They're all in the so-called Five Eyes group. It's an intelligence sharing group that grew out of cooperation during World War II. The Five Eyes, the 5 countries, they're all English-speaking former World War II allies. US, Australia, Canada, UK, New Zealand. Japan's conspicuously not there. And what the AUKUS countries have said just in the last 24 hours is that Japan, if it's going to join the technology sharing, and these are all top secret, classified, cutting-edge defence technologies that are, let's be blunt, being developed for the sole reason that they feel the need to deter China. They've said that Japan lacks the information security and the classified information protection systems that they would expect and need from Japan if it's going to join this group.
Yeah, really interesting developments and no doubt more to come. Thanks so much.
Pleasure, Bev.